Sadly, the time has come that I must leave Denver. I'm going to go back to Florida and spend some time with my family for a couple of months. But you may not realize the distance from Colorado to Florida. It's about 27 hours or 3 days to drive. I've done it before, just kind of drive, sleep, drive, and it's not very much fun. So I decided I would go a different route that I've done in the past and see some new places. So one of the places that I am going to visit is Tulsa, Oklahoma. Something a friend recommended that might be interesting to put at the beginning of my videos is each time I go to a new city, is to just kind of introduce it a little bit, with some history and some little facts. So I thought I would try that here in Tulsa. So some of the things that I found interesting was, one, the name actually comes from the Native American tribe Muskogee. The word was Tallahassee, and it later evolved into Tulsa. Another thing was that Tulsa is actually older than Oklahoma. In 1898, Tulsa was incorporated with around 1,100 people. 3 years later, oil was discovered, and this area became very profitable. By 1907, when Oklahoma became a state, Oklahoma actually produced more oil than anywhere else in the U.S. as well as the world, which was really good because when the Great Depression hit in the 30s, Oklahoma did much better than most other U.S. states. Speaking of oil, the Golden Driller is the 6th highest statue here in the U.S. with a height of 75 feet tall and each shoe weighing 1 ton, with the total statue weighing 43,000 pounds. Built 3 years after the World Trade Center in New York and designed by the same architect, the Bok Towers looks very similar and is almost exactly half the size of the Twin Towers. It is 667 feet tall and 52 floors high. One thing that really stands out here in Tulsa are the Art Deco buildings such as the Philcade and Phil Tower buildings, which reflect a 20th century construction boom fueled by the prosperous local oil industry. The Philbrook Museum of Art is housed in a Taliente villa that was once home of a local oil magnate. Center of the Universe is found downtown, and it is a circle in the cement that if you stand in there and talk, you can hear an echo that people can't hear outside of it, but nobody really knows why. You may not realize this, but Route 66 actually runs through Tulsa. Frustrated by the region's poor roads, businessman Cyrus Avery started pushing for improvements and became Oklahoma's highway commissioner in 1924. When the federal government started planning an interstate highway from Chicago to Los Angeles, Avery lobbied for the route to run southwest rather than over the Rocky Mountains. As a result of his efforts, the road would become Route 66, was laid through Arizona, New Mexico, the Texas Panhandle, as well as Tulsa. Clinton Riggs was a police officer here in Tulsa, and he actually invented the yield sign. He was noticing there was just so many collisions and wanted to do something about it, so he put the sign at the corner of 2 streets here in Tulsa in 1950. Collision decreased and the sign spread throughout Tulsa, America, and the world. When Riggs died in 1997, a yield sign was engraved onto his tombstone. In the Great Plains and southwestern U.S., you'll never be too far from a Quick Trip. This very successful chain of gas and convenience stores was established in 1958 by Tulsans Bert Holmes and Chester Cadieux. The company now has more than 700 locations. Garth Brooks, who was born here in Tulsa, is the music industry's best-selling solo artist. He has racked up 148 million albums and singles sold here in the U.S., which is 12 million more than second-place finisher Elvis Presley. As I start my little walking tour of Tulsa, I am standing here in front of the Blue Dome, and this is actually the Blue Dome District, all of this back here. And this is an area known for entertainment, bars, restaurants, and just a cool place to walk around with murals and things like that. met up with a childhood friend and his wife last night for dinner, and they actually brought over this Andaloli's pizza that's behind me, and they said this is some of the best pizza in all of Tulsa. Look at them representing Colorado. I found both Denver and Boulder. The interesting thing about this is that there are a couple other street signs down here for other cities, so you should come here and check to see if your city is represented. This big behemoth right here, the Bok Center, is for indoor sports such as basketball or hockey, as well as a concert venue. So if you're interested in seeing Justin Bieber or Kiss, I saw that they were going to be here this year. But it's just over 19,000 people that can come and watch either sports or a concert here. I'm standing in front of this area right here, this memorial that is for the 1921 race riot that happened here in Tulsa. So they call this area the Black Wall Street because it was extremely profitable back then. But there was a false claim of assault, and this says behind me that within 24 hours, over 300 black citizens were killed, and over 2,000 homes and businesses, they went up in flames. So this is a really interesting memorial. And then over here, if I can show you without the sun being too bad, there is this little plaque right here that is talking about the unpaid damage that was done and how much money it was. And some of these are, $300, $400, but I saw others that were around $20,000. I'm guessing that would account for some of the homes and full-on businesses that were destroyed. One other interesting thing I wanted to make a note of is, sorry if the sun's a little too bright here, is they have these little plaques along the walkway, the sidewalk here, and that is just referring to businesses that used to be there that were destroyed when the race riot happened, and then if they were reopened or not. So this is just kind of a cool little area just right on the outskirts of the Blue Dome District. Well worth seeing, definitely. This is really interesting to me here. This is the baseball stadium right here, just off of one of the main streets. And it's just crazy to me that you can actually just stand here and watch the game if you wanted. Not really sure what the point would be to have a ticket because the seats, as you can see kind of back over there, they're not shaded either. So yeah, I guess just to say that you were inside of a stadium, but this is just surprising to me. You can pretty much watch the whole game from right out here on the street. This is so crazy. I'm in front of the train right here, and look, I'm only as tall as the wheels, and then it goes up from there. But yeah, this is a really cool place. This is the Route 66 Historical Village, and they just wanted to have something that kind of talks about the oil industry, transportation, and things like that that came through the Route 66 here. This path that's right beside me here is called River Park's East Trail. As you can see, the river is right behind me here, and it's really, really pretty. And it does change names, but it goes throughout a good part of the city, just kind of along the river, and then goes through town just a little bit, like I said, under different names. But it's a really nice trail. They have one part that's actually just for bikers, and then another one that's just for walking. They're side by side, but they're still supposed to be designated separate. I am down right now at a place called Oral Roberts University, and I saw some reviews on TripAdvisor about the campus. It's just a little bit unique, so I really wanted to come. So I'm kind of excited to show you some of the unique architecture here at the university. At a place called the Gathering Place, and it's along the river, so they have some really nice trails for people to walk or run. And then they have this other area over here that is for, they call it Adventure Playground. You can see a little bit behind me, and I've just been walking around for about 15 minutes and just loving everything they have here, even though I'm an adult. And they had like a little pink princess house. They had a big forested area where you could feel like you're up in like a big castle. They had these really squishy things you could walk on and have slides, and it's just really, really incredible. One of the really pretty things they have that's just temporary is a wind chime area. And unfortunately, they weren't going off strong enough to where I could get much of that in the background. But yeah, I really, really recommend this for adults and children alike. This place that's right behind me is really cool. I don't know if you can read it. It's called AHHA Tulsa, and it is a sort of art gallery, but for the more alternative crowd. The first floor looks like it is more of a seasonal or transitional floor, and then on the second floor is really cool. They have all these video, audio things to kind of impress and delight. They did say if you struggle with epilepsy or things like that, to not go onto certain areas. But that one I enjoyed a little bit more. And the third floor is really cool because that is where they allow you to become the artist and create your own artwork. And I thought this was really cool. Also up there on the third floor, they have a massive, I wouldn't say it's 360 degree, but pretty close to it, terrace that you can walk around and kind of see. Not all angles are of a beautiful skyline, but they do show a little bit of the view that's kind of right behind me here. So definitely worth checking out. Not too expensive, but definitely something unique to visit here in Tulsa. Okay, so that is my time in Tulsa. I wanted to give a little score of what I thought about Tulsa. So the first one is walkability. I definitely felt like you could park and walk almost anywhere within 10 to 15 minutes. Everything was easy to get to, close enough. There was interesting things along the way to see. And so I give Tulsa a 9 out of 10 for being walkable. It was just very, very pleasant. While I'm on that note real quick, most of downtown parking is paid. So a great place to park is actually at Centennial Park. And it is just on the outskirts of the downtown area, but it is 12 hours of free parking there. And it's also very beautiful with a view of the downtown area. And yeah, it's about a 25-minute walk in. If you don't mind the walk, it's a straight shot. And so that was a great place that I found, and I thought I might like to pass along to you. So number 2 is security. How safe did I feel here? And there was a couple of times where I was around homeless people, one being as I was walking under a bridge, and there was a big group of homeless people there, and they didn't even call out to me or whistle or anything. I never felt like I needed to walk fast or anything. So I would probably give Tulsa a 7 or 8 as far as how safe I felt here. And then last is charm. I felt like Tulsa just had a lot of charm, so I'm going to give it definitely a 9. And there were, just the Art Deco buildings were so beautiful, and I had a hard time not just taking video after video of different shots of the buildings because they're so pretty. But hopefully I didn't put in too many here in the video, and you know, still with showing just how pretty it is and stuff. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm off to my next place. Where I'm going, well, I guess you will just have to wait and see. Until then, bye.